Hello, today we are reacting to stories that sound fake but are 100% true. And before we get into that, right?
This association, I can't feel my face. Am I supposed to be here in the first place?
I had a prior video I was gonna post, but then it got taken down. So now if you're seeing this, that means in the same day, right? In the same day, the time I edited one video and it didn't send, so I'm filming another one in the same day. So yeah, I'm very worn out, but hey, I love y'all, and I'm starting to get views now, so it's starting to push me. So hey, I don't really care, I do it for y'all and money. And I don't make no money off this, no money. But hey, let's get into the video.
This guy attempted to mail himself around the world in a crate and paid the ultimate price. This woman became famous due to something unbelievably weird lurking between her legs. This man was somehow
What? No, never mind. We'll get into it.
Both a dwarf and a giant. And this fella was raised by wolves. How the heck is any of this true? Well, let's find out. Alongside uncovering the very disturbing secret this woman kept locked in her attic and more insanity as we explore.
What does she keep locked in her attic? Like, it's literally asking me why. Like, I'm kind of interested now.
Stories that sound fake but are 100% real. In 1965, not long after 19-year-old Brian Robeson left his home in Wales for Australia, he decided life down under wasn't for him. Unfortunately, earning very little, Brian couldn't afford a plane ticket back home, meaning he had to get creative. Too creative, if you ask me. In a first attempt at freedom, Brian snuck aboard a ship bound for London. He used a visitor's pass to get on board and hid in the cargo hold until they set sail. And despite a promising start, several hours into the voyage, Brian became violently seasick and was forced to seek the medical bay. As soon as his ruse was discovered, the crew escorted him off the boat and abandoned him in New Zealand.
Damn.
Brian wasn't stranded for long. He secured some minor financial help from a relative in Australia, just enough to fly him back to Sydney, but not enough to get him back to the UK. On his return to Australia, he found himself coming up with a brand new plan, even riskier than the first. Inspired by Reg Spears, the man who successfully mailed himself from London to Perth the year before, Brian decided traveling by crate on the postal service was the way to go. Brian planned on sending himself via cash on delivery, meaning he only had to worry about settling fees once back in London. Using forged company papers he got from a friend, Brian convinced Qantas Airlines that
I'm kind of scared. I'm kind of scared to find out what happens to Brian. If y'all ever see these crate videos of people shipping themselves, this does not go great. This does not go great. 100% doesn't, because you turn around in the crate and you can snap your neck or you could bang into something very hard. So I think that Brian is no longer here with us no more.
the crate would be carrying a large IBM 7030 computer being shipped to London for servicing. With his transport all set, Brian bought a crate from a builder's merchant. At 30 by 26 by 38 inches, it wasn't much bigger than the box of a standard front-loading washing machine. Quite the tight fit. The side of the box Brian climbed in was nailed shut from the inside once he was in, and he packed a pair of pliers to open it back up when he touched down in London. Because Brian also took a large suitcase with him, it meant he had to sit with his knees pressed against his chest for the entire 36-hour journey. He couldn't stretch his legs and couldn't turn around. And even though the 2 pillows he packed made it comfy at first, it wouldn't stay comfy for long. On the 17th of May, with only a torch and 2 bottles to hand, one for water and the other for nature's emergencies, Brian's starting leg from Melbourne to Sydney began. He managed to smuggle himself on the plane just fine. fine, but things quickly started to go wrong. At first, Brian's box was dumped upside down, but as he was helplessly strapped in, try as he might, he was crammed too tightly in the box to turn around. His neck soon started to throb and blood rushed to his head.
And he
Before
passed
long, he
him.
was in so much pain he found himself continuously blacking out. Eventually, after spending 22 hours upside down, Brian's crate was turned upright and loaded onto another aircraft. But his problems didn't end there. What Brian didn't know was that the original Qantas flight ended up being overbooked, so the airline loaded him onto a Pan American aircraft with a longer flight route. This might have been okay, but with the cargo hold not being heated, Brian's situation became increasingly serious. From breathing difficulties to pain and
Damn. Ryan going through it, bro.
his elbows and knees, his entire body was in absolute torture. Throughout the flight, Brian kept slipping in and out of consciousness, tormented by the nightmare of his crate being thrown out of the plane. By the time they touched down, Brian was in such pain he could barely find the strength to check the time on his watch. He did manage to turn on his torch, but it proved too heavy in his weakened state, and he dropped it out of reach. When the flight was over, a worker saw the torch's light and decided to investigate. Peering through a hole in the crate, he was shocked to see what looked like a dead body. The worker immediately summoned a team of doctors and customs officers who, after a heated debate about the crate's legal status, decided to break it open. Finally, Brian's ordeal was over. He had escaped Australia, but here's the kicker. He wasn't in London either. The startled officials, all of whom spoke with American accents, revealed to Brian's horror he was in fact in Los Angeles, nearly halfway across the world from his intended destination. It took a total of 4 officials to hoist Brian up and out of the crate, and as they laid him down, his legs refused to straighten. For hours, he was stuck in the position he'd wedged himself into for his
I'm sorry, that's not funny. That's not funny. I'm sorry. This is that screaming.
journey. Still, the officials got him to the hospital, and Brian's story quickly gained the attention of the media. He also gained the attention of the FBI, who initially thought he was either a spy or that he'd been kidnapped. Having explained to them that neither of those accusations were true, the question remained about what to do with him. Luckily, the American authorities decided not to press any charges. But that didn't mean Brian was scot-free. Being named responsible for his fate as a stowaway, Pan American could have easily sent Brian back to Australia. But keen to ride the wave of publicity, they sent him to London instead, first class, and in an actual seat this time.
Whilst the exact time is debated, it's thought Brian stayed in the cramped box for at least 100 hours during his ordeal.
Let's move on to something even more perplexing now. Josephine Myrtle Corbin was a normal girl by most standards. She was born on May 12th, 1868 in Lincoln County, Tennessee. Only
I forgot, this is around the time where the circus was popular, bro. When niggas saw like deformed humans, bro. Like, it was crazy, bro. Like, there used to be like, hey, this is around the time where the circus and shit was popular. And like, if you had any type of like weird things going on with you, you would join the circus.
did I forget to mention that Myrtle Corbin had 4 legs?
Ooh.
This mutation gave her one of the strangest overall anatomies of all time, for more reasons than you'd think, and in turn, one of the most unusual lives ever. When Myrtle was delivered, her parents could hardly believe their eyes.
What the
Although
fuck?
the little girl was perfectly formed from her head down to her navel, a tiny second pair of legs lay flat against her belly. Her 2 inner legs, although capable of some movement, were underdeveloped. Later, it would be determined that she had actually been born with an incredibly rare condition known as dipygus. Myrtle's body axis had forked left and right partway along the lower spinal column during fetal development, meaning her legs and pelvis had been duplicated. With 2 pelvises side by side, Myrtle naturally had 2 sets of legs, each consisting of 1 fully formed leg and 1 small leg with just 3 toes. Although Myrtle was able to move her smaller legs, they weren't strong enough for her to walk on, and weren't long enough to reach the ground anyway. Meanwhile, one of her larger legs had a clubbed foot, so ironically, the so-called 4-legged girl only really had 1 fully functioning leg to speak of. As she grew up, it became apparent that she also had some pretty crazy stuff going on downstairs too, but we'll get to that in a moment.
Here are 65
That's crazy.
AI tools you have to know if you want to make a sale.
Yeah, I'll pass.
Myrtle's condition may have made her a strange outlier in her small hometown, but little did she know, the very thing that might have held her back could also make her a star. From the moment Myrtle turned just 5 weeks old, her father decided to market her as a walking, talking moneymaker for the family. After showing off his four-legged daughter to curious neighbors...
No, that's fucked up. That's messed up. Like... Hey, anything to get the bag, I guess.
And charging them a dime each, Mr. Corbin started placing ads in local newspapers to attract people from far and wide. Over the next decade or so, William Corbin would take his little girl all over the country, where she was exhibited at fairs, sideshows, and so-called dime museums. When Myrtle turned 13 in 1881, the newspaper ads Myrtle's father had posted attracted famous circus owner P.T. Barnum, and she was promptly signed for the Barnum and Bailey Tour's sideshow circuit under the moniker the
Oh, I thought he signed her off.
Four-Legged Girl from Texas. One of Myrtle's very first promotional pamphlets described her as being as gentle of disposition as the summer sunshine and as happy as the day is long. When Myrtle first took to the stage, nothing gave away her unusual condition, apart from her particularly wide hips and clubbed foot. But when Myrtle lifted her gown to reveal what lay beneath, the whole audience was left speechless. Myrtle continued to work for P.T. Barnum for 4 years, and people were so keen to catch a glimpse that Myrtle was able to secure herself an unusually high contract of up to $250 a week. By the time she turned 18, Myrtle had raked in enough dough to be able to retire from the spotlight for the time being. Myrtle's younger sister had married a man named Hiram Locke Bicknell in November 1884, and Hiram's younger brother Clinton became interested in Myrtle. The pair married the following year. Myrtle's marriage brought an early end to her sideshow career, much to the chagrin of circus owners up and down the country. In the years that followed, despite some initial complications, Myrtle amazingly became the mother of 5 healthy children.
Ooh.
Thanks to a rare deformity, she had 2 uteruses and ultimately carried 3 pregnancies on the right side and 2 on the left. Myrtle also had 2 distinct sets of fully functioning bowels. Each part worked totally independently from each other, so hypothetically speaking, Myrtle could suffer a bout of diarrhea on one side while simultaneously battling constipation on the other, which sounds far from ideal. Besides her continuing presence in medical literature in the United States and around the world, Myrtle maintained a quiet existence with her husband and children. But when her children reached adulthood and funds started running low, Myrtle's showbiz career experienced a fleeting revival around 1909. She dusted off her best dresses and began exhibiting herself at Huber's Museum in New York at the age of 41 under the new moniker The Four-Legged Girl from Cleburne. Though it had been more than 20 years since she'd set foot on the stage, within no time, she was making $450 a week.
Damn, bro, that's almost my paycheck. That's almost my paycheck. Almost.
Was a killing back in the day. As the years drew by, Myrtle began to retire from show business. Then, in 1928, 1 week shy of turning 60, she sadly passed away from an infection.
That's a long time, though, for somebody like that. You know what I'm saying, bro? Somebody from the 1800s, like, I don't think they lived that long. They lived until like 30 or something. Am I wrong? Or is that like the 1700s?
Legged folks living as long as Myrtle are basically non-existent in recent history. But if any modern four-legged folks are watching, like the lady in the Photoshop my designer has so kindly crafted here, drop a comment below and we may feature you in the next episode. But on that multi-limbed topic, is the highest number of toes ever recorded on a person more or less than 16? Well, to find out, you'll have to buy our game, Nuh-uh. Oh.
And if you want to find out, you're going to have to find out on the next episode. Yeah, I'm doing that. Yeah, I hope that I really hope this music was copyright free. I really do. But yeah, if you want to find out on the next episode. And also don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and like, you know, just show me that you really mess with this, you know. Really means a lot to me, you know. So hey, I hope you have a great night or a great day whenever you see this, and just caning out.